Marshall P.C. Wabash. I'm at the Chippokes plantation. The mansion's back over there. Paradise Gardens is over here where the last owner did a lot of planting. It was established in 1619. We're going to walk around these little outbuildings. Probably walk through the garden, then make it to the mansion. We have about 55 minutes before the first tour of the day. So I'll take you along on our little walk around.
You folks been to the park before?
No.
Nope. And you folks, this your
First visit, yes.
Okay, I'll do a little bit of park history before we get going. The house itself is an 1850s house, to which, when you're standing right there, I won't make you get up because it's so hot, but basically the 4 rooms with the shutters are the 1850s part, and the 2-story addition and the 1-story addition are 1950s, when the people, well, they decided they wanted electricity in the house, which was reasonable. They also wanted flush toilets instead of a outhouse, and so they just added the water in the additions, so they didn't have to destroy quite so much of the house. Anyway, we're basically, the park is named Chippokes because Chippokes was one of the Indians who was living in the area when the Jamestown settlers came in 1607. And of course, when they came to Jamestown, they didn't just stay there, they came across the river. And I think the chief Indian seemed to suggest to the Chippokes that it would be best if he was nice to these newcomers and so forth, and best for relations. They were giving out patents to land on this side of the river in 1619, and William Powell, who was lieutenant governor, was given a patent to a 550 acre parcel and a 200 acre parcel here. And he didn't live here, he lived in Jamestown, but he did send workers over here. So it has been continuously farmed, really since 1619, one of the oldest in the country. And it was the superhighway of the day. You could see what's going on in the fields, which in Jones's time was 1,300 acres property, not all fields. And you could also, you know how hot it gets here. They didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have air conditioning. You notice it downstairs. You might not notice it upstairs. But anyway, there is air conditioning, but nobody who lived here had that. And if you open, we're in the back door. If you open the back door, the reason the front door is closed is because they've got a fiberglass panel to keep the air conditioning in. But anyway, they had cross ventilation, but if you open windows at the very top, it would, hot air rises, it would improve the climate, and we didn't have air conditioning.
Alright, we're inside the mansion house now. This is the front door. It is non-usable, but the door is still open. They put fiberglass, big old sheet of fiberglass in here to hold in the air conditioner. But this is what it would look like if you were standing here looking out. This is the garden parlor. Very extravagant.
Here, just walk straight back so you can see what it looks like.
Okay, these stairs we can't go up, but it leads up to the Belvedere, which I took a picture of from the outside. It would be the lookout, so you can look at everything. That's a steep set of stairs. This is another volunteer, D. Vanderbrink, and this is a dedicated bench to that person who volunteered over 3,000 hours of volunteer service here. Born 1941, passed in 1916. Now look at that cedar tree right there. Those two side-by-side twins. And that one out there. There's some tremendously old cedar trees on this plantation. There's a holly tree, big old oak tree over there. You can see the base of it. And let's see, we've been to all the little outbuildings except for this one. This is the historic brick kitchen. So once they built the house, they moved the kitchen and built a special building for to keep the heat out of the house, because you know back then they didn't have no air conditioning, and I had to open up all the windows. This right here is the mansion itself. The chimneys on each side mark the original building from the 1850s, 60s, and then when you come over here where it drops off, the Stewarts added on to it when they bought the place. And we get past this holly tree. This addition was built right here. And there's a little bit of different brickwork. You can tell by the color of the brick. Over here where it goes up to the chimney is darker, more aged brick, where the addition starts right here. More newer brick, but laid the same so it matches the house. But when they built this addition in 1950s, that's when the house finally had plumbing and electric.
Lifted four-wheeler right there.
Well, we are at the Stewart Carriage House. They built this to collect antiques and kitchen equipment, stuff like that. This is a curtain quarter coach. It is.
Coach.
Yeah, exactly. It's humongous. That's the real deal.
That's about, what, about 10 foot, maybe 10 and a half, maybe 11 feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
This
small.
is the crown jewel of Victor Stewart. Claimed to have found it in the ravine. All right, I read about this one. And if he did find it in the ravine, chances are it belonged to the original builder, Albert Carroll Jones, who was here in 1837 until his death in 1882. So, if you found it in a ravine, this would be the original carriage for the first guy that built this place. It's pretty big. Then all the tack stuff along the back wall. Some saddles here. Now we're getting up to a little bit more modern type. We got metal leaf springs, where the other one was, I don't know what was on that one. Let me go look. Let me go look, see what the suspension is on here. It is wood, with a wood, I guess transmission or whatever, yes. And it appears that it is bowed wood, like a recurved bow.
And leather.
And no, I'm talking about the
Okay.
actual suspension.
Oh,
Like
suspension.
a
Yeah, it is.
recurved wood, and then
Okay.
let's bring y'all back. Look at the suspension on this 1830s carriage.
Some metal, but yeah, but it's more wood.
Mostly wood. And then if you look on this, it appears to be like a recurved bow. Could be wood there too,
Like they would do a buggy seat.
with a little bit of metal tying it together. And then right there looks like extremely thick leather for the springing action. Then we come over here to a bit more modern carriage from the 1880s to 90s from Jones Guthrie in Wilmington, Delaware, so they actually know who made it.
A leaf spring.
And it has a double leaf spring suspension in the back. One is up on top and then one is below it, so you get a double leaf spring suspension in the back. The front axle and the rear axle are tied together with steel. So this is quite a bit upgraded modern components. Now the same leather work along the back wall. And what we have here? We got what's that racing?
A sulky.
Yeah, kind of like a sulky. Maybe it is a sulky.
That's called a
But it's
gig or a brake cart or utility cart.
Yeah, but it's just a small,
A cart train a horse. Yeah, sulky.
just a small cart with two wheels in the back. And then That one shows 4 wheels with single horse or double horse. Just some nice buggies in here. Alright, pretty cool. Right here is the gardener's quarters, which house the on-site restroom right now. But this would be the quarters for the gardener back in the day. And the gardener's cottage over there. And we was over here last night. This was built by the second owner and his love of the Packard automobile. One side was a workroom that was added on, and then the garage is on the other side of that little air conditioner. But it also functions as the Friends of Chippokes gift shop. So, okay, we're going into the Packard garage because Victor Stewart liked his Packards, and when they had the place, they opened up a barn, and lo and behold, it was a barn find, no less, partially renovated or restored. So we're going into what was built as the garage back in the day. And there it is, the 1941 Packard. The interior looks to be in really good shape. And we swing around here and look. It's a straight 8 engine, 165 horsepower. 17 miles a gallon at 55 with overdrive. 16,600 made. So, pretty cool.
Hello.
Hello, we're back.
How are you?
Marvelous. And there's the motor, big old straight engine, straight 8, almost takes up the whole front end. XI battery across there is the whole fender. It's just humongous. We're going to come over here to the gas pump. I've seen these at people's houses like antiques, and I said, I asked the question, how did it work yesterday? So I was told how it worked. You have no electricity. You don't need electricity to run this pump. You put in the number of gallons you want on this little dial, and then you pump up the handle like a well pump. It pumps the gas up into the glass piece up here to the amount of gallons you want it. Then you take the hose off, stick it in your car, and it's a gravity drain straight into your car. No electricity required, just a little elbow grease to pump it full of gas. I said, that's very interesting. This is the work area. What would have been like, I guess, the tool room to work on your car, but now it is the gift shop run by volunteers at Chippokes, or Chippokes volunteers. And we're going to go look around, so see y'all a bit. Alright, now this is the garden that the Stewarts made or may have added to the original garden from the construction. Her name was Evelyn Stewart. The second owners, the Stewart family, they are actually interred here. Her and her husband are buried in her garden, which she called the Paradise Garden. She was an avid gardener, and her goal, and it's been in the records, the manifest or whatever, the order forms, that she ordered all sorts of stuff, and her goal is to have a garden that would bloom winter, spring, summer, and fall. It didn't matter what time of year it was. And it's like it is kind of a paradise, because as soon as you walk outside of there, it's all shady and the temperatures drop. Some of the crepe myrtles that are in this garden are 100+ years old. I mean, just look at, they've been trimmed up and they've been kept up, but like the base of them, that's one tree. I don't know how crepe myrtles grow, but this is like a bunch of one tree. They're old. They're pretty. Lots of open space for a nice leisurely stroll through the garden. Got a beautiful canopy to keep the sun off of it, which I imagine helped back in the day when there was no air conditioner. But I have little lanes to walk up and down. Looks like this is coming up on this open space out here. Is where the Stewarts are resting in their garden, which is pretty neat. Little lane. It's got a hedgerow, kind of goes around this area. And they have hedges on both sides. And this would be, I believe his name is Victor, and Evelyn's rest sites. And he died in 1965. He was born in 1880. No, wait a minute. She died in 1965. She died in 69. That's what this site looks like. It's pretty nice right out here in the middle of the garden that they made. Alright. If I find some interesting stuff, I'll bring you back.